رسالة تسامح والتعايش السلمي بيجيك من آي راديو هناك في جنوب السودان.
This is a message of peace. We all are South Sudanese. It does not matter where anyone comes from. We need to respect each other and support each other because we are one. We all are human beings. As South Sudanese, we deserve to coexist peacefully, tolerate one another, reconcile all our differences, and live peacefully. This is a message of tolerance and peaceful coexistence brought to you by iRadio, your eye on South Sudan.
Welcome to the Sundown Show. On this show, we bring you the movers and shakers of South Sudan and the world over. We engage in debates and discussions that unearth the stories behind the news. And we have our light moments too by chit-chatting about issues that affect our day-to-day life. We stay right here on the Sundown. Join in and be part of the show on iRadio, your eye on South Sudan. The Sundown. For the news, views, opinion, debates, and discussions. Listen to who is who talking about issues that affect our country and continent. Only on the Sundown, your eye on South Sudan.
Hello and welcome to the Sundown Show now radio with me, Madrama. Today is Monday, 16th of June 2025. This program comes to you Monday to Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. for a comprehensive look at the daily events, the latest information, in-depth analysis, exclusive interviews, and exciting surprises. To be part of the show, call us on 0911-229-86-986 and for us a text message on 0913-986-986. If you can't access the radio, we are also on Facebook, X, YouTube, and more. You can also stream this broadcast live by logging to our website at www.iradio.org. Coming up. The Speaker of Transitional National Legislative Assembly, Right Honorable Nunu Kumba, urges the lawmakers to listen to children and integrate their voices into decision-making process as South Sudan join the rest of African nations in the commemoration of that Day of the African Child.
So let us build a brighter future, more equitable South Sudan for tomorrow.
Meanwhile, we shall also take a look at the twist of event where South Sudan police said the country has seen a drop in that overall crime, and we shall get more from that Major General James Monday Enoka, who attributes this improvement to the cooperation between citizens and the police. These stories and more coming to you in today's edition of the Sundown Show with me, Madrama James. We kick-start the show with a reflection on the Day of the African Child, a journey towards securing children's rights through effective planning and budgeting. The Day of the African Child was instituted in 1991 by the Assembly of Heads of States and Government of the Organization of African Union in memory of the 16th June 1976 student uprising in Soweto, South Africa. At that time, students marched protesting the poor quality education they receive and demanding to be taught in their languages. During the protest, hundreds of school children were killed, The Day of the African Child is celebrated to commemorate these children and the brave action they took to defend their rights. The Day of the African Child also serves to celebrate children of Africa as well as inspire a sober reflections and action towards addressing the challenges that children in Africa face on daily basis. This year's theme is planning and budgeting for children's right progress since 2010. Now, he's speaking during the occasion, the Speaker of the Transitional National Legislative Assembly, Right Honorable Jemanunu Kumba, urges lawmakers to listen to children and integrate their voices into decision-making process under Article 17 of Constitution, children's right to protection, education and participation. His speaker called upon women parliamentarians and leaders to advocate vigorously for the Child Act, whose vulnerability requires our focused attention by strengthening mechanisms that embedded children's right into that all level of planning and budgeting and fostering partnerships across government, civil society and development partners. According to the speaker, the future of South Sudan depends on how well we invest in our children today because we empower the next generation. Let's hear more from Right Honorable Jemanunu Kumba talking to the participant earlier today.
You have heard the children. Let this budget be reflected of what they have raised here. All the statistics you have provided will be very useful for us. And during the budget hearing, these are some of the things you need to take into consideration and see how the benchmark for the budget for these sectors. It is true, we have not, as a country, we have not reached those benchmarks of 10% for education, 15% for agriculture, and all this. All those things are there in all the different protocols that the Republic of South Sudan has also ratified, and we ratified it in this parliament. What is lacking is the actualization of this or domestication of it. Some laws have already been passed, like the Ministry of Education. It's very clear how much percentage of the national budget should be given to education, but we face challenges, of course, because the budget is based on the resource envelope of the country, how much the country can generate and internally, and how much also can come from the donors. Perhaps this could be one of the reasons why we are not able to reach those benchmarks. The public hearing, yes, will be held, and you heard it very well, the chairperson for specialized committee and others. Please invite the children to be part of the public hearing so that you hear it from them directly. So as I said, despite these achievements, many children still face challenges. Many children are still out of school for various reasons, for the continued displacement, and also the poverty issue. Poverty, malnutrition, yes, it is true, lack of access to quality education, violence. So these are all issues that are affecting our country, and we have to admit, yes, we have those challenges. But the most important thing is how do we commit ourselves into addressing those issues. I can also say that sometimes some of these things are not addressed because we have not sufficiently or adequately put them in our plans, sector plans, and then of course allocation of resources. So as decision makers and the stakeholders, it's our collective responsibility really to ensure that every pound or dollar spent really advances our children's rights. We must prioritize transparency, inclusiveness, and child-sensitive budget processes. That's what we are going to take from here, that we have to always focus on child-sensitive budgeting process that reflect the needs and aspirations of our children as they have expressed here to us this morning. So now, the children, of course, don't see them like this, that, oh, they are children, they don't know what is happening, they don't have a role to play. Already our being here means that they have a role to play, to tell us exactly how they feel about the things that happen around them. But I don't think that they don't know what we are doing. They know very well, you have heard from them. They know what we are supposed to do, what their role is. So they are just not, they are not patient recipients, but they are actually players. They already have a role to play. And their voices can be able to shape our policies on things that affect their lives. So we need to keep on engaging with them and listening to them. Their voices must be heard and valued. Today's dialogue is a testament to our commitment to listening to children, empowering them, and involving them in decision-making processes. This is already your involvement, our children, in decision-making process, because you are influencing our minds and how we should be making decisions. So again, the Constitution is very clear, Article 17 is very clear about the right of children, and that's what should guide us. As they said, for the future to be bright, we need to focus on the children's education and their nutrition and their protection. Especially the girl child is very vulnerable and continue to be vulnerable. So as women parliamentarians, we need to be advocates for this. For a long time, I've been a gender activist promoting girl child education, because I believe we have failed. The failure of many countries is because they have not involved their women effectively in supporting their men in development. But when we are there being also a big component of society, ignoring us is ignoring development. So as you see now, South Sudan is moving well because our president is very serious about women representation. That's why you see some of us here calling ourselves right honorable speakers. So it is because of the commitment and the political will of our leaders. So when leaders pick up issues and advocate for them themselves, society listens. So we also, as leaders in our respective capacities, should carry these voices ahead because our people listen to their leaders. So today we are here to pledge that we have listened and we will try our best in our respective positions to strengthen mechanisms for integrating children's rights into all levels of planning and budgeting, and allocate sufficient resources to education, health, protection, and social services, and promote accountability and transparency in resource management, because that is also key. We may be given resources, but if it is not managed transparently and efficiently, then we will not be able to provide the services. And we continue to foster partnership among government institutions, civil societies, development partners, and children themselves, because they should be partners in what we are doing. As I conclude, yes, I agree with you fully that we have not reached the benchmark of 10% for education, 15% for health, and then 10% for agriculture. This is something we need to commit ourselves to improve on an annual basis as we continue with we start our budget processing. The progress we have made, yes, we need to acknowledge that we have made some progress, and also acknowledge that we have not reached our goals, and we need to keep on our feet to ensure that we reach the goals. The journey is far from over. So every child deserves a future where their rights are respected, protected, and fulfilled. Let us work together, children, policymakers, development partners, to turn our commitment into concrete actions. Yes, I took note of the fact that the speech of the president should include something about the children. So the Minister of Parliamentary Affairs is here. She is the one who is the bridge between the Parliament and the Executive. So she will definitely take this message forward so that this is considered in the next national address of the president or when he addressed the parliament. It is true, colleagues, that when we invest in our children, they have told us to invest in them, and that is a very important message. And that's what we need to do, because that is how society, the continuity of humanity is through children. So these are the future. We are here today. Tomorrow, there will be the one that will be there to run this country. So we commit ourselves to investing in our children as a government and even as individuals, as communities. What is the challenges the girl child is facing really is a cultural and customary thing. And that's why it cannot be erased in a short time. It's a process. We will continue to advocate and create awareness at all levels so that the need to protect the child, the girl child, is seen by everyone. Let the girl go to school. She will always get married. When she finishes school, she will go for marriage. Everybody wants to get married and found a family. But what is important now is to give the opportunity to the girl to pursue her studies and also realize her potential, her full potential. And she will be even more useful to the family, to the society, and to the country. So let us build a brighter future, more equitable South Sudan for tomorrow. Thank you all for listening. And again, my colleague, the Right Honorable Speaker, thank you. And you are always welcome to interact with your senior colleague in Parliament on pertinent issues. My office is open for you, Right Honorable. And also those who are heading specialized committee, the offices of your counterparts here in the National Assembly are also open for you for consultation and to raise issues that affect children. We need a concerted voice to address all the challenges you have mentioned. Thank you very much.
Yes, you heard it all from Right Honorable Gemma Nunu Akumba, who is the Speaker of Transitional National Legislative Assembly. From the start of this show, that the Day of the African Child was instituted in 1991 by the Assembly of Heads of the State and Government of the Organization of African Union in memory of that 16th June 1970 student uprising in Soweto. Now, in the same vein, we caught up also with Siama Santino Yuol, who is the chair of Humanitarian Affairs, Children's Parliament, South Sudan. And Siama, she is a student of that elite high school in Juba, and she gave us a picture of what the humanitarian situation of children in South Sudan look at. Let's hear more from her.
My name is called Siama Santino Ayual. I'm a student at Elite High School, and I'm here representing the chairperson of Humanitarian Affairs, that is from the Children's Parliament, and I'm also a child rights activist concerning the climate change and stuff. That's what I do most basically. So now, firstly, to talk more on the Day of the African Child before I proceed to my work, then just to talk on a small story. The Day of the African Child, also known as the has been celebrated on June 16th every year since the 1991, when it was first initiated by the Organization of the African Unity. This day honors those who participated in the Soweto uprising in the 1976. It also raises awareness of continuing the need to improve education and provide the African child. So as we come here today, we are here to commemorate the Day of the African Child. We are here to celebrate our children who stood up for their rights, our children who knew that they are really important in the society and their rights are really to be valued, and that's why we're here today to commemorate those children. Now, to come back back basically on why I am here today to talk about the humanitarian affairs, I would love to take you through the reports that I have here before I go basically to tell you as to why the things really need to be addressed for the sake of the children that are here. First of all, to say here, across South Sudan, more than 9.3 million people, those are 3/4 of the population of our country, require humanitarian assistance according to the UN. Nearly half of them are children. Can you just imagine? Half of 9.3 million are children themselves in the country. The conflicts in Upper Nile and Jonglei have brought up all the aid efforts to the ground as itself. Now it states here, conflicts and insecurity continue to be major drivers of need in South Sudan. The humanitarian crisis persists due to the combination of the sporadic armed clashes, the intercommunal conflicts, the food insecurities, the public health challenges, the climate shocks, and so forth. These factors have severely affected the people's livelihoods. It has hindered their access to essential services such as water, sanitation, education, and healthcare. Now, it states here that in 2024, the economic crisis, the ongoing conflicts in Sudan, and the widespread flooding further deepened people's needs. Protection concerns remain particularly high for women, girls, and even the children themselves, especially those that are fleeing from the side of Sudan into our country themselves, that is South Sudan. Now, it says here, for those who face the extreme protection risk due to their journey in South Sudan, many are living, in the poor physical and psychological conditions. They are having a lot of being exposed to the gender-based violence and abuse because they're even not in their native land, because they're even not in their comfort zone and really how they need to live a life that a normal person is actually supposed to live. Now, as of late 2024, 900 people have arrived from Sudan into South Sudan here, seeking refuge because of the fact that they do not have the livelihood that they really want to live. And then we also have a report estimated an addition of 337,000 arrivals in the year that we are in 2025. Now, South Sudan remains the world's second most vulnerable country to extreme weather events, which continues to affect the communities across the country itself. Now, the food security situation continues to deteriorate due to the combination of shocks, including the conflicts, the displacement, the flooding, the high cost of living, the ongoing influx of the returnees that are our own citizens that are returnees from the Sudan, the refugees from the Sudan themselves, the further worsening of the situation according to the Integrated Food Security Phase classifications of November 2025. Approximately 6.1 million people, that is the 45% of the population, are projected to face a crisis level or more severe acute food insecurity. Now, just to sum up all that I've said here as my work, just to say this, to look at what humanitarian crisis look at in South Sudan here that people have faced a lot. Now, the causes here have been seen as natural disasters, they have been seen as conflicts and wars, they have been seen as epidemics and even the pandemics themselves. Now, they mostly affect children because children become those that are very vulnerable to this, because as we can see, children and women are mostly the people that are vulnerable to all these shocks, to all these problems that are being faced are concerning this. Now, the effects come here have been losses of life, massive displacement, collapse of basic services, that where mostly the children become affected on the side of education, on the side of healthcare and stuff, because you definitely leave your comfort zone, you're maybe going to seek for refuge or something of that, and you do not actually get what you really need at that particular point. Now, what are we saying here, or what recommendations do we have to the members of parliament, to our right honorable speaker, and to all the dignitaries in this house? We then say that it's good to prioritize our protection, focusing on reducing risk, decreasing vulnerability, and enhancing the capabilities of our communities, collaborative efforts with development and peace partners that are to be the key building community resilience and achieving the sustainability. Now here, according to the budget that was taken here, because humanitarian actually points to all the budgeting allocations that were to different ministries. In education, it was 2.6%, and the commitment was 10%. At the health sector, it was 1.2%, and the commitment was 15%. At the gender and child and social welfare, it was 0.1%, and the commitment was was 1%. At the agricultural point, it was 2.3%, and the commitment was 10%. Now, what does this all show? It shows that none of the commitment have been met, even a half of it haven't really been met. And what does it show here? It then shows that even at the point of humanitarian, we do not get the enough support that we really need to help this in terms of humanitarian stuff. What do we then ask the government? We appeal that you actually help at least meet, even if like let's say three quarter of the commitment that is there, because we actually understand the situation of our country as well, but at least meet 3/4 of the commitment that we have, so that we can be able to solve the problems that are already on stage. And just a few clarifications to know here is that, you know, the children we have in our society today cannot, our society does not become a society without the children, because the fact remains that the children are the very precious unit in the community, because without the children, we are not going to have the tomorrow that we really require. And with all this, I'm urging everyone around to act so that we can actually help our future generation. Thank you very much.
Yes, that was Siama Santino Ayual, a chair of that's Humanitarian Affairs Children's Parliament of South Sudan, and she is from that elite high school, Juba. This year's team is talking about that planning and budgeting for children's right. And finally on board, we caught up also with Edward Emmanuel Valentino, who is an economist, Pentagon International Secondary School, Juba, and he also highlights some of the challenges facing children in terms of that's the national budget and planning as well. Let's hear more from him.
I am by the name Edward Emmanuel Valentino, a student at Pentagon International College, Senior 1. So today I'm here also to say that in the recent years or the financial years, there have been budgets coming out. And in all this budget, us as the children, we are really suffering from it. Because now the budget that is coming is not really implementing for all of us as children. For instance, let me say the budget is out, like for example, was it 2022-2023, the financial year? There was a budget of 1.9 trillion that was supposed to be allocated to different sectors. But in the sectors, now let me first give the implementation of the Ministry of General Education and Instruction. There was, in 2022-2023, 81 billion, which is 5% that was given to children, 5.9% was given for the education. Now, the man was, the required commitment was supposed to be 10%, is it? Then now, as a government, as a ministry of, is it, let me say the parliament, they approved only 5.9% that was given to education sector. With all this 5.9%, it didn't affect only, not all children gained what the money was supposed to do. Because now not all the children gained. For recent in our homes, maybe a parent may bring like sweets, maybe like 6 sweets, and your 8 children at home. Not all of us will get, only 6 will get, isn't it? So now even this, as the budget came out, not all of us as children gained what we were supposed to gain as education. Not all the children in South Sudan gained what they were supposed to gain. Because now there were others who gained and others didn't gain. For instance, like the money that is given to the Ministry of Education is supposed to be facilitating classes in government schools, for constructing more schools, for also getting writing materials, paying also the teachers and all these things, which was not right also, because now as the budget that it was low, as the result of the low budget, not all children are getting, because now they are not paying all the teachers. Now the teachers leave the children without teaching them. Then now children will also start saying that the teachers are not teaching, maybe we should just stay at home, leading to a lot of children that are being seen on the streets as street children. Because now they will say that in our schools they are not teaching us. Then also in those government schools, as a result, some of them also are doing things of saying that whenever children are being registered, there's always extra money which they make children to pay. And also in these government schools, maybe there are some parents who don't have money, they may say that we don't have money, then the children will just remain at home, which is also bad. Because all of us as children, we need to get equal education, and everyone is supposed to get education. Because without education, the future of South Sudan, because the future of South Sudan is in us as the children, and without the education, we are not there. And also in the Ministry of Health, which is the most important part, the Ministry of Health, because without health, we are nothing, of course. In the Ministry of Health, there's always, because now Ministry of Health is the most important thing, because health is the most important thing to us as children and also as human beings. Because without health, we are nothing. So now the money that is always estimated for the health is really not fine, because we need more hospitals. For example, in the Payams, there need to be more hospitals in the Payams. Because now most mothers are dying because of this. Because now maybe the mother is pregnant. Let me say she's a pregnant woman. Now during the labor, to get her to the hospital for her to give birth, it's really because now these hospitals, you may see one, maybe let me say you're here in, maybe in an area like Budele. You may see the hospitals until let me say Juba, there here in Juba, like very far. The distance is very far. Now to move the pregnant woman from Budele, you can just imagine the time it takes to take her there. Because in the villages, like in these Payams, they are not the transport. You know how the transport there is. We don't have this facilitating transport, which will also make the woman to give birth. Then with all this, also in the Ministry of Agriculture, without food also, food. Food is our thing. Because now we need food. Without food, what are we? Because now, let me say in the villages, so now farmers, also some farmers, they need like these farming tools, seeds also to plant, that will help us to produce food. Because now as a student, we need nutritious meals. We can't eat only one thing every day. We need something also, that's all. Then also in my conclusion, I will urge the government and all the stakeholders to act on their commitment and also to recognize the critical implications of low natural budget allocations on all sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, you should also note that the Professor Achinwa Achebe stated in his books that things fall apart. Where will the young suckers go when the old banana die? We are the suckers as the children. Because now, okay, for in nurturing us today, you are planting the seeds for a brighter and more prosperous South Sudan for tomorrow. With all this, I request all our dear leaders, our right honorable speaker, to hear our little voices and take action. Thank you.
Hear our little voices and take action. A call coming in from Edward Emmanuel. Emmanuel is an economist, then a member of that Children's Parliament, South Sudan. And Emmanuel is from that Pentagon International Secondary School here in Juba. With that, it's a high time now for us to have our first commercial break on board. When we come back, that's when we shall be seeking your thought on 0911022986 and 986.
Attention! Cholera is a dangerous disease. It can kill within 3 to 4 hours if not treated. But here is the good news. The oral cholera vaccine is now available to protect you and your family. The oral cholera vaccine is safe and free. Everyone from 1 year and above, including pregnant women and breastfeeding mothers, can receive the oral cholera vaccine. However, do not give oral cholera vaccine to persons who are sick or have cholera and children below 1 year. The vaccine is given orally in the mouth and it's usually in 2 dosage, dose 1 and 2, to strengthen your immune against cholera. The second dose is given between 2 weeks and 6 months after the first dose. With 1 dose, you are protected for up to 6 months, and with 2 doses, you are protected for up to 3 years. The oral cholera vaccine protects you from severe cholera symptoms and reduces the spread of cholera in the community. Do not miss to be vaccinated during the oral cholera vaccination campaign happening in your area. Remember, even after getting vaccinated, it's important to continue practicing good hygiene and sanitation. Always treat your drinking water to make it safe. Use a toilet. Never defecate in an open. Wash your hands with clean water and soap, especially before eating and after using the toilet. And if you or anyone you know shows signs of cholera, seek immediate treatment. If you or anyone of your family member or community is experiencing cholera signs and symptoms, report immediately to your nearest health facility, health worker, or community leader for medical assistance. For more information, contact the Ministry of Health or call our toll-free number 6666. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health with support from WHO, UNICEF, and partners.
نعم مسلمين في كل مهل، مرحبا بكم تاني مرة جديدة في برنامج بتاع سانداون. زي سمعنا من أطفال وكمان عيال بتاع مدرسة قاعد بحكي بدا في شنو قاعد بياسر مومون وخا أبو ولا دور بتاعه بكون شنو عشان كيف دراسة بتاع أطفال اللي بيقدر يمشي قدام. طبعا بنتكلم في النهاية تا بادجت القاعد حكومة قاعد بودي في كمدرسة ولا في كاغريكلتشر ولا برو كمان في مستشفيات ما قاعد بيتم ويتبيال قاعد فال في مناطق كله في داخل جنوب السودان ما بيقدر يلقى هدي الكويس، ما بيقدر يلقى دراسة الكويس، ما بيقدر كمان يلقى أكل الكفاية. وده السبب في اتجاه بتاع Upper Nile، في اتجاه بتاع Northern Barkazal Western Barkazal محلات انت بيقلع cases بتاع malnutrition قاتا بياسل. وده جزء من صوت المون بيعرف زي جنوب السودان بدون ما كمان باقي دول تانين في أفريقيا عشان كيف بذكر يوم بتاع African Child Day. بدب دور بتاعك يكون شنو وهيتا بمعنى دور بتاع حكومة يكون شنو عشان كيف يهل بتنا يلقى قراية التمام. وكمان تواجد المون عقيدة بقدر انكسو 09 وايد وايد ولا 22 986 986 أول مكالمة هاي راديو.
Hello.
سلطانة
ماما ماريا.
يا إنت أسمع صوت عيالتك يا ليلى.
أنا أسمع بابا. أنا ودي سلام ليتا مستمعين كله.
شكرا.
إتانو. عيال دي ومهادو أبوهات كمان في كل نفس كلام على عيال دي جوونسو. دائما أنا جوونسو أنا قال يا جماعة كل كتب بالغ لعيال كمدرسة. ها؟ مدرسين ديل كل دافعوا كل صار. أول مية كمدرسين وتدكاتره.
نعم.
حاجة دايرو في إيه حاجة كل أول بسم الله مدرسين ودكاتره. ها؟ يلا باقي حاجات كل اللي مية رافي جمان تو. أتنسونو كل إيال أجرا. كل كتو استمام لإيال دي. ها؟ أبو حاجات كل فتا أنا لإيال. وحكومة كل فتا أنا لإيال تو. ده مستقبل تو حكومة كان إيال سكيرين ده مافي. Ali jegeran kan wonu sugale kemar de yal skeri yal de kan nage karabo na bera faida kan na be kusunu wenna be kusunu na der yal de eli kutu istimam le yal de hukuma keli fata enale yal de pusul del keli wasaw pusul musumia kamsin fi fosil wai mia isirin fi fosil wai keli fata pusul badin derasa ta madarsa ale kasbel hukuma keli kutu bala fogo keli laji mumen be derasu be gonun kita hukuma magale mumen be jibu gonun to mon barao ajate ni nale maga dakal su muktanas be yal asa kanta en yini fi madrasa fini al kasbe yani posil bega kinasara yal fogo ma fi yal kala laanu ajada le be talabude ajada le kayani kumu abu mabak be ligo ya dunia jan nasu jani yal derita deramulu le yal sai be sy kelasuru basandora fi posil lisa hajat yinak benadika kelu hukuma pata ena to le madrasa al kasbi kelu laji gonunde kun fi ida to hukuma ma umon mala kepale sakalin be gonun to mun hajat al ga mulude kelu wori lo mangala mulujede laji kelu man tabi katwa to hukuma. Shukran nana ma indikati.
Shukran Kalis Dakan Sultana Mama Maria Radio.
Madrama Jamal.
Ayuwa.
Good evening.
Good evening Ustaz Tolfuk.
Absolutely, this is me 12.
Juba wala Shamal Barkazal?
Ana قاعد في جوا يا زولي.
يا سلام. يوم أنا بيلقى إنت توالي ده مرقبدي يا سلطان.
لا في مشكلة. أنا بصلي ميتا ومستمعين كله.
نعم.
وماما ميري البطول ده.
نعم.
بالنسبة البرنامج يعني برنامج ده برنامج تماما. لكن المشكلة في جنوب السودان لأنه الناس اللي قاعدين يشتغل مع حكومة بقول حاجات تنكشم. نرجع ورا شوية كده.
حاجات المون يقول بكشم ده شنو؟
في شمال بارغازال. في المنظمة بقول إيمكو ده عامل كومباوند للعيال اللي قاعدين في السوق. يلا عيال قاعدين في السوق ده يعني كان الناس المنظمة لهم عيال في أسكال كلهم. في مستوى شمال بارغازال وخطوط في جوال الأوجة ويلا يعني جوال الأوجة انتو ميز بتاعهم وأرسلت المعلمين الكل الأستاذ قاعدين جوا هناك يعني يالل بيدرسون وبعمل زي 3 شهور وبعد ما 3 شهور يعني يالل يعني جددوا من هناك في الكامباوند. يلا أنا سائل الزول اللي كان شغال في الكامباوند قال يالل يعني دارين يعني شغل أورنس تماما جدا بالنهار وبالليل عشان يكون الزول ما بيفكر اللي بقول هنا ده السلسيون. لكن أنينا قاعدين ندرس بعد دراسة ما في زول يشتغل عشان يرى للعيال عشان يكون يعني بعمل زي الهيستوري وتحنين كده عشان يكون يعني جانا يكون فرحان.
تبي يعملوا شنو؟
دارين يعني ناس الحكومة بعمل زي الزمان اللي بعمل كومباوند في المستوى ولاية. هذا في شمال بحر خزان في زول واحد عمل الكومباوند واسمه بتاع كومباوند ده بقول جيروسلم نيو جيروسلم. النيو جيروسلم ده فوقه يال كتير وأصلا الرجال قاعدين فوقه. لو أنت مشيت جول أوش ده لأنه الجنة صغير بدرسك الورد اوف جود. عشان كده هنا دارين عشان الناس بتاعنا وكون بتاع ولايات وكون بتاع ناشونال عشان اعمل برنامج مع منظمات عالميه عشان تعمل الكومباوند ديال ده يكون في جوا هناك وجيب لي المعلمين بعملوا درس للعيال ده عشان يكون بعدين العيال ده عيال بتاع فيوشا. لو عيال بتاع فيوشا ما في مشكله كتير وما في عيال في الاسواق عشان زي العيال قاعدين في الاسواق ده باقي عيال الراس بتاعهم راسهم يعني راسهم خفيف. لكن المشكله شنو؟ مشكله من الظروف. لو عيال دار اكل ما تلقى اكل اخير تمشي سوق عشان تلقى الباقي النزل وباقي البقول النيور. لكن
نعم.
ده ما ممكن عشان يكون هنا وكون بتاعنا عشان بقول حاجه بعدين وحاجه بعدين ده ما فوق نجاح دايرين حاجه الفوق نجاح.
شكرا. شكرا جزيلا لك. أنا كنا تلفوكلو جافي نايا بتا مدرسة ولا تعليم بتا يال بتين أنا بمانا أبواد ومهان بارو يشارك مانينا رأي بتومون بالضبط شنو القاد بكلي يال بتين تجنوب السودان ما بيقدر يلقى مدرسة الكويس. وكمان زي سمينا في ريبورت قالي معقولات ساكت بيجيد بتلتل وسيبو كلام داك بارو كمان في جزء من مشاكل الما بقدر ودي فرصة ليال عشان يقرب بالضبط يعملوا شنو. اي راديو
اهلا وسهلا دكتور
زي ما بقولوا.
سلامت عليك اخوتا والاسلام الامن ولكل مستمعين.
شكرا.
وبمشي كمان ليال كمان لكل اطفال تاعنا في العالم كله في جنوب السودان نقول كل سنه وكل من بألف خير. كلامات تاعهم كله في محله وانا بقول ليال بتاعنا بتاع بلد انا نجي نادي الحسي زي ما كان زمان جدودنا كان ناضلوا لابوهاتنا وابوهاتنا جا ناضلوا لنا وعنينا كمان اليوم قاعدين ناضل كمان من اجل ابناء ديل دياو جيل تاع بكره دياو مستقبل تاع بلد البرابع بلد صعوبات والتحديات اللي واجهنا كمجتمع من اجل ابناء ديل. عشان كده رقم الصعوبات رقم التحديات خلينا نكون رجال ثاني قدام ثانينا بروح تاع محافظه اكيد ثانينا بفهم بالظروف اللي فوق ده اي زول عنده دور اكيد لكن دور كبير وبدا من حكومه فوق هناك لابد كده السلام الشامل السلام العام ده يكون موجود في البلد عشان كلنا كده نعيش في امن والسلام والاستقرار عشان المدرسه ده في دفقوتي حاجات كله تنميه كل ده نعمل نسيق موارد بتاعنا ده اكيد ذات تعليم بيكون في ماده ده اكيد يعني بمشي كويس. يعني نتمنى كده يكون ميزانيه كويس للتعليم ده وبالذات للمجتمع بتاعنا الاطفال ده بالذات نشوفوا خطه استراتيجيه شنو نقدر نحافظ ليال ديل اليوم في ما في جانا جالس جانا شارع ده جانا ولدهم هم معبود تاو وذنبه شنو وجانا صغير طفل ما عنده ذنب. أنا السبب في ذلك وبرجع في المجتمع كله بدا من الدوله حتى بديت انا كمجتمع عشان كده ناخد خطه استراتيجيه شنو حالتي لكن كنا نشوف ياك انا ده يكونوا معنا في البيت بتاعنا ويكونوا قاعدين في مدارس لغايه ما هم انتهي بالرابع بطريقه كويس بطريقه انا دارينه هم نابوا مسك بلد بكره بعد بكره. نعم أقول.
شكرا جزيلا زي ما بلولو. Via our Facebook page, we have Bakman who is watching us live from that's Thirikeka County. of Central Equatoria State. We have Dol EP is watching us live from Benin as well. Keep those messages coming, and do not hesitate, of course, to text to us where exactly you are watching us from 0911-022-986-986. With all the challenges, a young parliamentarian, students of South Sudan, mentioned during the occasion of the African Child Day, how best can parents, government, and civil society and you improve the learning situation in the country right here? Hi, Radio. Hi, Radio.
Yes, hello, Madrama.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, my friend.
Good evening.
Glad to see you in the studio like this evening.
Thank you.
This is Moses calling from Western Barkazal.
Wow, good to have you, Moses.
Thank you very much.
Actually,
I would like to comment, but please just I wanted to use local Arabic that we are using here because we are familiar in Arabic mostly.
You have no problem. Go ahead.
Okay. You know, حاجات الحاصل هسه في جنوب السودان بجد it's not fair. It's ما كويس كله. يعني أنت بتعاين للسيستم بتاع education فيه مشكلة. أنت بتعاين للسيستم بتاع شنو فوقه مشكلة. جد كله فوقه مشكلة. So we are really crying. حتى يال بتاعنا ما قاعدين good education. No. The best thing that we wanted actually أنا لازم نمشي للتناريخ بتاع اقتراح بس عشان نجيبوا سيستم جديد للبلد بتاعنا عشان البلد بتاعنا يقدر يكون فيه سلام وطمأنينة. ليه؟ لأنه أنا بنعاينه في بلد جت كله كاب. حتى جت الإمبورت from Uganda is really bad. يعني أنت بس عاين the soda that given brought from Uganda to South Sudan is really bad. You know. ما كويس كله أنا قاعد يسبب ضرر كثير للناس بتاعنا في البلد بتاعنا. فدي حاجة أنا أقول وإن شاء الله خلينا نوصل بس لصندوق اقتراح بعدين عشان نقدر نفوت الصوت بتاعنا للزول اللي بقدر بيطلع البلد بتاعنا ده. Thank you very much.
طيب موزيس قلت حاجات كثير كله بطالوا يعملوا شنو بهذا زول الجاي ريته بمعنى زول يعملوا شنو زاد.
والله أنا داير نبدأ من جديد بس داير نبدأ بلد يخطو كويس. أنا حاجات حتى قبل من يوغندا ده we need to work this thing. حاجات البيجي كعب ده ما يجي بلد بتاعنا. حتى حاجات زي النجس هسه ده it's difficult for the government to stop it. It's not difficult. It is very simple. But now it is chaotic. It's very bad. Thank you.
شكرا. نعم ده كان أخونا موزيس من Western Barkazali State Day في مدينة واو. ناسما من دبرو. هاي راديو. All right, we have got also a text coming in from Bernardino Juma. He's watching us live from Ray, that's Nimule Municipality. Hi, Radio. Community Advisor. Welcome. I'm afraid your line is not that clear. What's happening, Community Advisor?
I think network is the problem.
Yeah, network maybe. Yeah.
Network is the problem.
Community Advisor, kindly change your location and get back to us on 0911-022-986-986. Otherwise, we are not really getting you. Hi, Radio.
Hello.
Are you?
Madrama James.
Ustaz Kamal.
تعرف مدرمة الموضوع الكبير ده هو السلام. لأن السلام لو فيه بلد أي حاجة زراعة بنجا تعليم بنجا كل حاجة بنجا. So نتمنى من ربنا أنه يجيب السلام. 1. 2. To have a quality education. A quality education that we start with the training of the teachers. You could under an institute for teachers so that we have a professional teachers. يحيث المدرسين صار خير تعليم ده بيمشي بكل سموس. 3. حتى الناس كلهم في حكومة ده كلهم كان بدأ from the villages. Because the villages كان كل المدارس dormitory houses. The children, our students should be occupied there only almost for 1 year, or 9 months. حاجات اللي في مدينة هنا في خربوا بيكون مس there. Then the school regulation must be there. But ده لو كله فيه بنطلع إياها الكويسين على أنه بيعمل ذا في يونيتي يعني backward في السنوات الآخر ده بتلقى من إيكوتوريا قبلوا في وراب قبلوا في secondary school وبتاع ناس ميكس وقاعدين في داخلية they became a family. They know themselves. So this one kana mudu only salam can be. There, the salam. Like in this technology, aliyah fi Juba in the towns, the schools and the town day. The school is only how many saat? Yalla barra in azu montar, azu Arabiya, azu what? Those activities biligo. Mas haja is occupied. So نتمنى ربنا يجيب السلام وكل حاجة بتكون كويس. Without peace ما بمشي كله لا دار أو سكوت. نتمنى ربنا يجيب السلام على أنه ربنا ذاته هو السلام. Thank you very much. Hello.
Shukran jazilan. Naam, dekana Ustaz Kamalina fi Juba. Two more lucky callers and then we call it a show right here. Hi radio. Naam, bedap Ustaz Kamal wanus fi hajad al-Kutargat buwaja barro Ustazinu wa kaman atfal al-guide fi madrasin. تبقول بدب شناشان كيف يجيروا جودة الكل. Hi radio.
Yes, طبعا مزيمة من يامبيا.
Welcome on board.
شكرا كايس. So شكرا برنامج سكولو ما ينسريد. So أنا كان جاي نو فايت على جاس الأسالية. الكتب يالت أنما بقرا كويس. أنا كان جاي نو كتيريال البورا بارا. أو بسبب سكول البارا ده. Usasin to manangida fama gurusa kwezi. So lana ene anna kutu gurusa school of the sea. Ya sakira moderation magwe du bad asana bedere sial because we are gurusa gurusunde magsaido. Lokana anna we dinner stanaze by school salbara. Kaya kutu school bali ustak gurus kwe fizamanto yan ozat bodini ato bedere sial mania.
ما في زول بكلم هسه مدرسة رسالة كتب قالي يا زول شغال في حكومة قاعد بيصرفوا 30,000 ولا 40,000 طبعا عمل شنو؟
Yes, that radio لزام أنا مين من حكومة ناس. جروز أنا سأقصد الحكومة لازم نقتله من ويلا جروز يجي لهم في زمان سما بدافع يالته من مو. 1 2 كنا كالفية أنا سأقول الحكومة أقصد الحكومة ده. ناس كانوا سكول تومن بدي روارا نا كانوا ما بيسكول كتير ومدرسين زمان دا كانوا بوي دباتو من غازار ناس كبار كنا منتالو من فوق كانوا ورلة تبا بسدي سكول دانين سكرين لكن ما ناقة ثلاث من سكالين so الناس يجي من الجروس در لزام لمن من حكومة لازم جروس الناس شكالين في حكومة بزيلو من جروس من تمام رجال من في زمان عشان الناس بدافع يالما في سكول لكن جراي بوروا لكن كان كل سكول أتقدرت مايا ماجيال الناس مايا ماجيال المدرسين كل أنا بونس كامل لازم يمكن ما بيجاو سأنا هاي أنا درس رياضة النبارة والناس عندي جروس مرة رياضة من كل بارة أنا ما ساكن لي أنا كتابين لكن الناس عندي جروس رياضة من كل بارة شكرا كاس رياضة عندي رقم كرواجس سديد كده زدوا جروس للناس ومدرسين ده دفع جروس ما في زمان عشان إنسان بس زمان لا يدير
Shukran jazilan. And now, with that, dear listener, we have come to the end of this very conversation, and we took a look at the Day of the African Child. This is a memory or reflection of the 16th of June 1976, where a student uprising in Soweto, South Africa, at that time, student march protesting the poor quality education as they received and demanding to be taught in their own languages. As South Sudan joined the rest of the world in commemorating this particular day, we have had concerns from that's our own children. Otherwise, thank you. The Day of the African Child also serves to celebrate children of that's Africa, as well as inspire sober reflections and actions toward addressing the challenges that children in Africa face on a daily basis. And many of you have shared in your thought. I am your host, Madrama James, and thank you for listening.
This is iRadio.
The iRadio.
Your eye on South Sudan.
Hello, I am Madrama James. It's 5 o'clock, time for iRadio News Headline. A look at what's coming up at 7 o'clock in the news bulletin. The police have raised concern following reports of a rise in suicide cases in South Sudan, with the 9 cases recorded in the past week alone, calling for a collective effort to address the matter. The 36 countries, including South Sudan, Uganda, and Tanzania, have been given 60 days by the United Nations government to meet immigration benchmark and requirements or face partial or full suspension of entry into the U.S. And a certified public accountant has strongly advised the Ministry of Finance, Central Bank and Revenue Authority to consider promoting a cashless economy as potential shutdown solution to calm the ongoing liquidity crisis. Tune in for these stories and more coming to you in our 7 o'clock bulletin. And now here's Paria Johnson with Arabic News Headline. I am Madrama James, so thanks for listening.